Hello everyone, I'm Yusuke from Alpha Advisors. Yes, today. Yes, the recruitment for internship programs aimed at the class of 2027 for universities like Goldman Sachs, BlackRock, and Blackstone has started. I want to share this information with everyone. This mainly pertains to internships held in the US, specifically in New York, where the headquarters are located. Well, today I would like to explain this and talk about how you can get into top companies like Goldman, BlackRock, or Blackstone, and what measures you need to take. Yes, over the past 17 years, Alpha Advisors has, of course, been helping people get job offers from top companies, and we are the number one company in Japan. So we, and I myself, am here to support you as an advisor. Well, it's 2024. Based on last year's internship and the final selection process, we have had successful applicants from Goldman, BlackRock, and Blackstone, as well as Citi, of course. Yes, Bank of America, JP Morgan, and Morgan Stanley. Well, we have successful applicants for all of these financial positions. Yes, we have a wealth of experience in getting job offers from these companies, and we have the know-how. So that's the bottom line. I know how to pass the selection process at top companies, so I'd like to talk to you about that today. So, if you're looking for a job or career advice, or if you want to join a company like BlackRock or Goldman Sachs, please feel free to contact Alpha Advisors. Yes, on the Alpha homepage. Well, in the chat box on the homepage, you can tell us about your current situation and what kind of company you would like to get a job at. I am happy. Yes. As for my career, I graduated from Waseda University in Japan and then studied abroad in the United States. Yes. As for my career, I worked in asset management and hedge funds. I worked as an equity analyst in these places, analyzing stocks. Now, I'm at Alpha. I am in charge of career support, financial program support, and technical financial courses. In terms of job offers, I have supported many people and have had them accepted into top companies, such as Goldman Sachs, BlackRock, Blackstone, McKinsey, and Google. Well, we have a wide range of job offers from these top piano hood companies. Yes, especially in the financial sector. Yes, I'm quite skilled in investment banking, asset management, and hedge funds as I've worked in these areas, so it's only natural that I'm good at them. If there are any viewers from overseas, particularly from countries like China or South Korea, I want to point out that job hunting in the US as a foreigner can be quite challenging. I think that it's fine to say that you have to show that you are more excellent than Native Americans, and there are language barriers and visa issues. I think it's hard for foreigners, but I have found a job in America as a Japanese person. So I know what it's like being a foreigner in America. I would like to offer advice on job hunting and related areas. So this is about career achievements or placement results. You can generally expect that offers have been made from the top companies you are interested in. Oh, yes. I won't read through all the names since there are quite a few, but we have candidates who received offers from companies like Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, BlackRock, Blackstone, as well as Nomura and MUFG in Japan. Yes, these are all top firms in finance. We have numerous candidates who have received offers from strategy consulting firms like MBB, as well as from Big Four consulting and accounting firms, and from tech giants like Google and Apple, which are part of GAFA. So, additionally, there are many offers from general trading companies and trading firms in Japan. Alright, so let's get right into it. I want to share some information about summer internships. As you can see here, for example, Goldman Sachs doesn't have a set deadline yet, but for most companies like Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, and Bank of America, the deadlines are generally from March to April. The deadlines are set like that, especially for Morgan Stanley. They are very early, and every year they have an early deadline, which is around March 15th. Yes, particularly for investment banks and also global markets and similar areas tend to have very early deadlines. Yes, JP Morgan and Bank of America have their deadline set for April as well. Yes, and then, uh, well, the deadline is coming up for Citi and UBS. And like Citi, it's set to January 1st of next year. Well, of course, it's January 1st. Applying and securing an offer is challenging. For UBS, deadlines aren't clear, but applications are usually around March to April. What? In asset management, BlackRock opens applications in summer and March. For second-year students, job hunting starts early. Deadlines for next year's summer internships are in March and April 2025. However, I think you can think of this as the time for filing applications or submissions. Also, including asset management, BlackRock and others say that their applications will open in the summer. Also, it says that their applications will open in March. So it's really up to the timing to decide on the quality. I want you to have this image in mind as you start applying. Yes. So, for second-year university students, job hunting is really kicking off now. It's quite early, isn't it? The deadlines for next year's summer internships are already coming up in March and April of 2025, which is a very fast-paced schedule. Well, I imagine it's quite difficult for everyone. All right, let's work hard on this and prepare for the deadlines as well. We have a solid understanding of this area, so you can leave it to us. So, today, I want to cover the basics of job hunting, including as much practical information as possible. I would like to explain, first of all, the financial industry can be broadly divided into the sell side and the buy side. I think that most people probably don't really understand the difference between the two, but I think that most people have a vague sense of it. Well, I think there are cases where you might not know which is which until it's pointed out. So today I really want to start from the basics and explain it. Happy dates. All right. Let's begin with the sell side. So, what does the sell side do? What kind of companies are included in this category? Well, it consists of investment banks, securities firms, and brokers. So, their customers. Who are their clients? Well, they are the buy side, which I will introduce later. So, what do they do to earn revenue? Well, as it says here, fees. They also receive commission. So, what does the sell side sell? It's the so-called securities. In the context of selling securities, that's what we mean by the sell side. So the buy side consists of companies like asset management firms and hedge funds. Well, I think it's easy to understand that hedge funds are like that. For example, when they place an order to buy 100 shares of Apple stock, rather than going through the market, they make a call through a securities company. So if it's a stock, you can buy it from the market. But if it's a government bond, for example, if you want US government bonds, well, bonds are basically transactions where you meet in person. So you can say over the phone, for example, this is the amount you want. Yes, Bridgewater, yes, calls the securities company Goldman Sachs and has Goldman Sachs sell the Apple stocks it holds. They do things like selling government bonds, and that's what they do every day. So, the selling side is the securities company investment bank. And on the other hand, the buying side is... So, that brings us to the buy side. Companies like BlackRock and Bridgewater fall into this category. Their revenue structures are quite different. The sell side primarily earns through fees. For example, when they sell or trade securities, they take a commission. Let's say Apple stock is priced at $100 per share. Out of that $100, for instance. So, for example, if someone orders something for $100, they add a $1 fee and sell it for $101. They repeat that kind of thing over and over again. And that's what they do to make a good income. So, you can see that they don't take that much risk. Well, it's the same for other things. For example, the research department. Well, there were job postings as well, but the research department writes research reports and sells them to the buy side, generating income that way. The same goes for M&A. They essentially succeed in M&A deals and earn fees based on the transaction amounts. So you can think of it as primarily being about fee income. All right, so the other side is the buy side. I briefly explained this earlier, but the main difference in their model is that they earn income through investments. So in the case of Apple, if you buy Apple stock and get a return, you wait for the price of Apple to rise. That's what the buy side does. Well, BlackRock and the rest are fine. Bridgewater and similar major funds are doing this kind of work. Yes, their main goal is to invest and achieve capital gains. So the roles of the sell side and buy side are completely different and they have different clients. It's helpful to keep in mind that their revenue structures are different. Yes, so the risk itself is primarily taken on by the buy side. The trading risks are borne by the buy side, while brokerage firms make their profits by selling stocks and earning commissions. This means their revenue tends to be more stable. But if you're looking to make significant profits, that's where the buy side comes in. I want to increase my income. People who are ambitious tend to switch from the sell side to the buy side, which is a very common case. Yes, there is a difference. All right, so how does the selection process progress? Well, this is more of a guideline, but generally, you can expect application deadlines to come around from March to May. And then regarding the documents you need to submit, well, what kind of documents do you have to submit? Of course, you have to submit a resume and a cover letter, but in addition, you have to create something called a stock pitch. This is where it gets really tricky. What is a stock pitch? It's an investment report. I would like you to think of it that way. This is not a question of whether this is imposed on all financial institutions or all positions. But for example, buy-side firms such as BlackRock and Blackstone Fidelity will of course make you write investment reports, and IBD will make you put together modeling financial models. So they assess your proficiency in Excel. Now the stock pitch is quite tricky because, to put it simply, it's hard to memorize. I brought an example of what a stock pitch looks like, and I want you to have the image of creating an investment report in mind. This is something I created when I was a student, and I think it's very quantitative. Also, it's not enough to simply read the IR materials and say that this company has these characteristics. For example, you make a DCF model and set up variations, or you make a multiple model and calculate the stock price. You have to do the kinds of variations that professional analysts do, and they don't really teach you this in class. They don't teach you how to use Excel and do things like that. Well, it can be very challenging. There might be some students who struggle with using Excel, but if you can't do this, getting an offer in the finance industry becomes almost impossible. That's why you all need to be able to create this by March or April. This is quite a challenge, especially for second-year university students. They prepare to be able to make such a stock pitch. However, the point is that those who have already been accepted can do it. They rely on professionals like us and prepare to be able to make a stock pitch from their first year of university. So it is very difficult. But those who can do it can do it. So in this area, it's important to prepare without making excuses. And the other point is that this will be thoroughly examined at the document screening stage. So what this means is that if you can't create a stock pitch, you won't even be called for an interview. So there's no chance to make up for it at the interview. In other words, you'll be eliminated at the screening stage. I think this is what makes the financial industry so difficult. It's not an easy world where you can just pass the document screening because you went to Harvard, Columbia, or Wharton. On the other hand, even if you didn't go to Harvard or Stanford, or even if you didn't go to one of those top schools, you can still get a job offer from Goldman Sachs because you've done this kind of preparation at Alpha Advisors. So, it might feel quite difficult, and there may be some of you who haven't started preparing at all. But for those of you, I hope you will rely on Alpha to help you get this done. We have programs to support you in creating these pitches. I'll be introducing those shortly. Now, what are they looking for? Well, they consider things like your GPA, your English proficiency, language skills, and also knowledge tests related to finance. There are also programs that support this. So I'll just introduce them to you. Yes, I'll take a look. Yes. So what are you looking at? Well, they look at things like your GPA, your English proficiency, language skills, and also knowledge tests related to finance. So after preparing your stock pitch and doing all this, that's when you finally get called for an interview. This usually happens around May to June. You can think of this as the interview season. The finance industry is particularly known for having an incredibly high number of interviews. For example, at Goldman Sachs, it's common to have around 20 to 30 interviews. Of course, for example, in the first round, you face about 5 people, and then you have a super day, and then you talk to the whole team from the second round onwards. You talk to 7 or 8 people in one day, and you keep interviewing until the sun goes down. So I think it must be pretty exhausting physically, but you can't say that, and you can't say that you're exhausted during the interview. It's not a place where you can be accepted, so, well, here, well, I think everyone will be fine. And in that interview, there were some very difficult questions, like the reason for wanting to work there. Well, why gold version? Why finance? Why sell side? And so on. Well, if we're talking about simple questions, that's one thing. If it were just basic questions, I think anyone could secure an offer. But the real challenge comes when you start to encounter more complex questions. This is about the technical interview, where you'll be asked questions related to financial knowledge. This can be quite challenging. For example, a really simple question might be, what recent news in the market are you paying attention to? For example, they might ask questions like, what will be the focus of the next FOMC meeting? Or which stocks are gaining attention since the Trump administration took office? Or is Nvidia a buy or a sell going forward? These types of questions require your knowledge of finance and your opinions on the market, and these are what we refer to as the technical questions. Well, here too, we have to prepare properly. So, the point is, from their perspective, I think the same. They are naturally knowledgeable about the things they are interested in. In other words, what Trump is up to, what the FOMC is up to, which stocks are hot these days, etc. If you can't tell us what's going to happen to Nvidia in the future, then the financial industry. It seems that the commitment to the subject is weak. So if you ask if you can pass the exam if you have that knowledge, the answer is no. Well, this is quite a tricky balance to strike. For instance, some people might say, I have a CPA, so I'm fine. Or I have a CFA, so I have enough financial knowledge, so I don't need to prepare. But honestly, those qualifications are something anyone can obtain. So that's not really what they're looking for. So, in other words, even if you don't have that qualification, you can really talk about Nvidia for about an hour. If you can show your greed for finance at pool, or rather your curiosity and interest rather than knowledge, then you'll be fine. So this is a pretty difficult area, and it's especially common among excellent students. But it's not at that level where you think, well, it's okay if you have a qualification. Oh, well, you're investing, so it's okay. Well, actually, there was the person who I supported at Alpha, and he strongly recommended the stock of the oil production cost. Well, he strongly recommended it, and he talked about it for about 30 minutes in that interview. Well, he said something like, you're weird, laughing, but he went ahead with it. It was like it really came from the heart. What they're really looking for is knowledge of the financial industry, as well as enthusiasm and interests. Yes. In interviews, they want to see your hunger for financial knowledge. Fitting in is important, so research the company and ensure your goals align with theirs. Create a logical connection between your goals and the company's objectives. At Alpha, we guide you through these. Many students lack in responding to technical questions. It's about daily industry engagement, not just prepared answers. Consider this an area to invest significant preparation time. What I particularly feel is lacking among students is their ability to respond to technical questions. It's not just about answering prepared questions. It's really about your daily engagement and interest in the field. I think that kind of interest will really come through. So I hope you can see this as an area where you need to invest a significant amount of time to prepare. Yes, one of the reasons why we at Alpha Advisors are able to secure so many job offers from top companies is primarily due to hard skills, specifically the Alpha 5 key specs. First, we systematically organize these hard skills to help everyone prepare effectively. So, what exactly are the 5 key specs? These are the 5 hard skills that top companies value. For example, leadership skills, management skills, and global experience. For example, not just English, but Chinese, etc. For example, I can speak Japanese, Korean, and Spanish. Also, simply being smart. It could be your academic background or your SAT score or something like that, but also the intelligence that you see in what you say, your resume, your writing, etc. is pretty important. Also, things like visual perception are pretty important. Basically, it's about whether or not you're smart, also business knowledge. Something like business skills. This is indeed quite a difficult question. But the point is whether or not this person is considered to be an exceptionally skilled businessman. This is a difficult question. For example, you could say, well, I worked really hard as a volunteer. You could say, I volunteered really hard. You could say, even if I didn't have money, even if I wasn't paid, I worked really hard, sweating and devoting myself. It's not necessarily the case that people who say they've worked hard as volunteers will be evaluated highly. So it's not just about appealing to others that you're a good person, but you have to appeal to others that you can benefit your company and earn money. And that's where business skills come into play. Well, that's the logic. Yes. So he's a good guy. It's not so much his personality, it's more like this. It's important to make them think, this person seems like they can help us earn money. Additionally, communication skills and presentation skills are crucial. It really comes down to whether you're good at interviews. This is especially true for foreigners, like those from China, or even Japanese people like myself, as we need to be able to communicate effectively in English. So I think it really boils down to whether you have those communication abilities. Yes. Next, when it comes to soft skills, yes. Well, that's right. Well, the point is, well, perseverance, well, not giving up on anything, turning it into business money, demonstrating leadership to see it through. And also, whether you are proactive, well, not passive, and EQ. It's often said, but an interview is a test of EQ. Yes, this is important. People who are just smart often tend to be weak in these areas. And then there's commitment. As I mentioned earlier regarding technical questions, commitment is crucial, so I hope you can rely on us for that. I also think intellectual curiosity is important, especially in technical aspects. This is someone who can demonstrate their intelligence and also their commitment to finance. So that's how it is. A commitment. To demonstrate your commitment, it's crucial to prepare for finance-related topics. This includes understanding how to conduct self-analysis, how to explain why you are applying, and how to present yourself. We have our know-how called the Alpha 5 key questions, but I believe the focus should be on building finance skills, introducing Alpha's finance preparation. We have 2 areas. One is investment development. This is about macro market analysis. It's a program that can be completed in 2 months. You'll be doing top-down market research. So it's about having a broad understanding, major trends in the macro market, global situations, and the legal systems of different countries. I'd like to introduce one of the 2 programs we have at Alpha. One of them is called Investment Investor Development. This program focuses on learning macro market analysis. So, as it says, investor development is about learning macro market analysis. This is a program that can be completed in 2 months. Specifically, what you'll be doing is researching the overall market from a top-down perspective. So, it's about having a broad yet shallow understanding. The goal is to grasp the major trends in the macro market, such as global situations and the legal systems of different countries, central bank movements, geopolitical risks, and so on. Understanding what the global trends are is essential. For analysts, in other words, analysts in the financial industry, this is already a prescription that is being prescribed, so I would like you to learn about it first. That's what I'm saying. Well, for example, as I mentioned earlier, what is Trump trying to do now? How is the dollar-yen exchange rate moving? And why? Why are interest rates rising? And also, well, what policies are the central banks trying to implement and why? And so on. So, the way we proceed is that we ask you to write your market analysis, and then we provide you with feedback on it. That's right, the subjects include the Nikkei average, the Dow Jones, crude oil, virtual currencies, and foreign exchange, and I will provide feedback to them. What's good about doing this is that it creates a cycle of input and output. So, if you want to analyze the market and write a report, you'll naturally look it up on Bloomberg. You'll research using sources like Reuters and then interpret what you've read in your own way. For example, if the Dow has gone up, you'll write about that. By writing about why the stock price fell, etc., I will look into what the market is paying attention to, what economic indicators are coming up, and all of that. After inputting that, I will output it. Then I will receive feedback from them, that appropriate feedback. So even if the analysis's viewpoint is wrong or incorrect, I can correct it immediately. I think this is the biggest benefit of MS and the Investor Development Program. In fact, students of Alpha Advisors are at a level where they can get job offers from companies like Goldman Sachs or BlackRock within just 2 months. Since you already have a solid understanding of financial knowledge, I believe you can definitely rely on us for this. Next, we have the Asset Management and Hedge Fund Advisory Program, which is designed to help you create stock pitches. That stock pitch we talked about earlier. This is the program to create that. Yes. So, to create this stock pitch, well, very. Of course, you need to analyze in detail. For example, modeling. Using Excel, HOTS. You can, for example, connect the balance sheet and the income statement, calculate the cash flow, etc. Then there's financial analysis, etc. Then there's variation modeling, and I think many of you have heard of the DCF model. But I'm going to teach you how to do it in a practical way. So based on knowledge, for example, the DCF method uses this kind of formula. Even if you know, for example, how to calculate WACC, you may not understand or you may not know how to calculate it in Excel. That is what I am teaching you. Well, regarding this, well, there are lecture videos, so you can proceed while watching the lecture videos. And regarding fundamental analysis, I will give you feedback, for example. What aspects of Apple are being focused on? Writte. This includes understanding the revenue drivers and what determines sales figures. We will thoroughly dive into these areas. The program is structured in such a way that, in short, the goal is to enable you to create stock pitches. This is the main objective of the Asset Management and Hedge Fund Advisory Program. So, we have these two main programs overall. One aspect is conducting broad top-down macro analysis. And the other aspect is regarding the Asset Management and Hedge Fund Advisory Program, we focus deeply on analyzing a single stock. So I think you can see that there's a very good balance. We have a program for broad analysis and another for in-depth analysis of a single stock. It's very important to acquire both of these skills, and by doing so, you'll be able to meet the expectations of firms like Goldman Sachs and BlackRock. I think you can become top talent. Yes, in addition, Alpha's career support is, in a word, we will support you in anything. For example, we can help you set your long-term goals. We can help you with things like self-analysis, brushing up on your goals, and finding your true essential motivation. Today, we're talking about the financial industry. But for some people, that might be the case. Maybe GARFA, maybe I should go to consulting. It could be the big four. I think the companies that people should aim for can vary quite a bit depending on the individual. So, when it comes to these long-term goals, we will provide advice on your fundamental motivations, what you want to do, where you see yourself in 10 years, and why that is important to you. Additionally, of course, we will help with your resumes and cover letter. I will provide feedback on your work. This service is free of charge. You can receive unlimited advice as many times as you need during this period. I will provide advice on that. Additionally, we help you refine your strengths and weaknesses, and we also offer interview preparation, othe. For example, we have a database of past students from Alpha advisors, including what companies they interviewed with, what questions they were asked, and what aspects they were evaluated on. We share all of that information with you. We also provide finance prep. Yes. As for how to create a stock pitch, that's what I mentioned earlier. Yes. For those who want to get other qualifications, there are CPA support courses. Yes. If you are interested in this too, please feel free to contact Alpha. Yes. Finally, I want to give a brief introduction about Alpha. We have been supporting your careers for 17 years. In fact, we assist not only with job hunting and career changes, but also with MBA applications and other related processes. We truly provide comprehensive support for your career. Yes, and then TJ, the representative, he comes from the investment banking division at Goldman Sachs and has worked on numerous M&A deals as a former banker. Yes. Before that, he earned his MBA from Chicago Booth, which means he has a strong background in the areas that many of you are interested in, like MBA programs and investment banking. It's only natural that he is very knowledgeable in these fields. It's obvious that they are very strong, but they are also very knowledgeable. I have a deep understanding of hedge funds and asset management as well. Yes. Regarding MBA support, we have many candidates who get accepted into top programs like Harvard, Wharton, Stanford, Chicago Booth, and Columbia every year. Of course, we also have a lot of candidates going to European schools, but recently there has been a significant increase in people wanting to pursue their MBAs in the United States. Yes, and also schools like UCLA and Berkeley. There are many options like the University of Southern California, USC, and MIT, among others. Of course, we support full-time programs as a matter of course, but we also assist with executive MBAs, online MBAs, and similar options. I think this will vary depending on your long-term goals and what kind of career you want to pursue after graduation. Please feel free to consult us about choosing a school. Additionally, in terms of career support, we provide assistance for companies like Goldman Sachs, McKinsey, BlackRock, Google, and the Big Four. I hope you recognize us as the #1 career support company in Japan. Of course, we have a proven track record in Japan, but we also support students from the US, South Korea, China, and many from Europe and Middle East. We have been providing global support for a wide range of students. Recently, we've seen an increase in students from India as well. We provide support to many international students from countries like South Korea and China, as well as those from Europe on a global scale. Recently, we've seen quite a few people from India as well. Yes. We have over 80,000 subscribers. The Japanese version of our YouTube channel has also surpassed 17,000 subscribers on the main channel, making it very popular in Japan. Yes, so if you consult with Alpha, we will provide you with this kind of support. And for example, we don't only support job hunting or university students. So we receive consultations from people in their 40s and 30s, for example, about the current situation in investment banking. Well, we deal with such things on a daily basis, so you can see things like that. You can gain insights, and for example, if someone says they want to go into a private equity fund in the future but plans to start their career in consulting, we can help eliminate that kind of misalignment in their career story. There's this common belief that only investment bankers can transition into private equity, and we can provide advice on that too. That is what I am saying. Well, really, we support a wide range of people from elementary school students, well, really 5 or 6 years old, to people in their 50s and 60s. So we have the depth of advice and insight that we can give because we support a wide range of people of a wide age range. So if you leave it to us, we can help you with your career. Well, from constructing long-term goals, what kind of company should I join? Well, concrete practical support. And that's simply something like an ES. I will help with your resume and personal statement revisions. But it's not just about those surface level things. We also provide support for financial preparation and case interview strategies, among other areas. So please feel free to consult us about your job search. Yes, that's what I wanted to say. Lastly, if you could share the deadlines one more time, that would be great. The earliest one is probably in February. There's the Head Summer on February 25th in Germany. It's at Deutsche Bank. Kusama, there are internship deadlines coming up, so I think we should aim for that first. Now, after that, there are deadlines like March 15th for Morgan Stanley and April 15th for other job postings. Other companies also have deadlines around April 16th. So the idea is to prepare for these dates. I hope you can consult with us about this. That said, we still have about 1 or 2 months left, so there's plenty of time to get ready. Yes, so please consult with Alpha before the deadline. Yes, I would like you to consult with me about your job hunting. Well, that's fine. Many people come to us after they've been rejected. It's really a shame to come to us after being rejected from top companies, so I strongly encourage you to reach out to Alpha advisors who, if you're interested, please feel free to contact us through the chat box on the homepage of Alpha's website. We sincerely look forward to your inquiries. With that, I'll take my leave. Thank you very much.